matchup of the night in the Diamond. This should be a really good matchup, and I don't know who wins. Do you have an opinion?
Well, we saw last night, with Bauer in that big dog role, which you never see him in.
No.
And the turns out that Bauer shouldn't be in that big dog role.
No, he's too good a pitcher.
Exactly. So we saw that, the overnight number on this was Houston minus 155 at the Open in some places. Now it's $120. So there's been a lot of support for Kluber. And Kluber's last start, certainly there was some buy in that start. 7 innings, 8 strikeouts.
He had his command.
Which
he had not had in his early
He still gave up 4 runs in the game. And we still like this Astros lineup a fair bit. I'll tell you what, though. Cleveland started the season without Lindor, and certainly last night he was a difference maker. And with his bat, he's got, 4 or 5 days now coming in off the DL. He's an impact player for an Indians lineup that early on sometimes didn't have the punch we expected.
Not a lot of pop, no. And they've been missing some guys. So, hopefully Cleveland will get a little bit healthier and start to get things rolling. Although I hope they don't to any great extent because I like the Twins in that division better. All right, time to check out some NFL draft. And we're just going to kind of roll through some of these picks and give opinions. We're not going to force opinions. If we don't have anything to say, we'll just skip it and move to the next one. I do want to question Kyler Murray's pick from one standpoint. The Cardinals have known, I believe, for quite some time that they were going to have the first overall pick.
Why'd they take 10 minutes?
Come on, make the pick. And then they do exactly what everybody said they were going to do. Yeah. What, were they trying to work a trade at the last second?
Your guess is good as mine.
I have no idea, but they've got Kyler Murray. My personal belief is that none of the quarterbacks this year, except one that hasn't been drafted yet, were great value. But that you still got to take him, I guess. His potential is off the charts. The Cardinals do not believe in Zach Rosen. That's pretty clear. So Kyler Murray's their guy.
So from an organizational standpoint, it doesn't get any stupider than what Arizona just did. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, you hire a coach. You let the coach get his quarterback. You immediately, after 1 year playing behind a terrible offensive line and a receiving core that's bereft of talent.
Yep.
After 1 year, you say, we don't like this coach. We don't like this quarterback. Let's scrap the whole thing, and now we're going to start over again. And now for Josh Rosen, what do you get? You get literally pennies on the dollar for Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
He can't, he unfollowed Arizona on Instagram last night. He's gone.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
He's clearly not going to be there by the time. I'd be absolutely shocked if he's still an Arizona Cardinal by the time camp opens. I think he'll get traded today, to be honest with you.
And when you start telling me, okay, that anybody knows what they're talking about in terms of these prospects and how good they're going to be and what their NFL career is going to be like, Josh Rosen is going to be example A++. Okay, a year ago, he's a can't-miss prospect. Everybody loves him.
I didn't love him.
I didn't love him either. But you know what I mean? He's the QB of the future. And a year later, what are they going to get, a third-rounder for him? And last year when they picked Josh Rosen, great value pick. No one's looking at that pick going, no, this is a bad pick for Arizona.
I got that one right, folks.
Mm-hmm.
I got a ton of them wrong in the NFL draft, but I got that one. I'm just not a big Josh Rosen guy. I did not see a superstar in his UCLA days. I think there's certain throws he can't make, and my comment on him is still now what it was then. High floor. I think he's going to be good enough. High floor. He's good enough. He's good enough to play in the league, but low ceiling. He's never going to be a top flight quarterback.
Blaine Gabbert of the world.
Yeah, kind of.
Sure. But, look, Kyler Murray had an exception. Not many seasons like the one he had last year. Let's see him do it again at the NFL level.
Is he Russell Wilson? Because he's going to have to be. He's basically Russell Wilson's size. And Russell Wilson, I got Russell Wilson wrong.
Yep, me too.
Because I didn't think, I thought, to me, Drew Brees has always been the complete exception to the rule. Mm-hmm. And that you need to have some size back there. Russell Wilson has proved me wrong because he is a great NFL quarterback, and he's not very big. So Kyler Murray needs to be Russell Wilson, and maybe he can do it.
In theory, he's supposed to have the skill set. But let's not forget, Russell Wilson in Seattle, elite defense, strong running game when they were good, and top-notch coaching staff.
Yeah, and one other thing, and you can put stock into this or not. Russell Wilson's a really smart guy. Okay, I mean, he is a really smart guy. Again, all it is a test score. Kyler Murray, worst quarterback test score on the Wonderlic. I know Dan Marino's the example, had a horrible Wonderlic. Murray's was even worse, by the way. And he had a great career. But Wonderlic's been at times a pretty good predictor of guys who are able to process things in a hurry. Now, again, all it is a test score. But it's a little tiny red flag for me.
There's enough red flags for Kyler Murray that the team that took a QB with their number 1 draft choice last year and then fired their coach and fired Arizona. Good luck. I mean, Arizona's got a bajillion holes to fill on that roster. Hopefully for them, QB won't be one of them moving forward.
49ers, Nick Bosa. I am on record as saying I think Bosa is the best player in the draft. Some people agree with that. Some people don't. I saw on some sites that he was maybe 5th or 6th in their overall ratings. I think the guy's an absolute monster. And I like this 49ers team. I mean, I think he's going to be an impact guy right from the outset. Their offense is going to be a lot better with Garoppolo healthy. San Francisco's a team on the rise, and I obviously like the pick.
I mean, San Fran to win the division, San Fran win total.
I don't think they're going to win the division unless the Rams decide not to play for some reason this year, but San Francisco could be a playoff team.
They're going to be a popular play, and we're already seeing signs of that. I don't think anyone argued with the Bosa pick at number 2.
How about the Williams pick at number 3?
I'm not going to argue.
Miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jets getting a guy to fill the middle of their defense, and that's if you look. One thing I will say about the first round in general. Lots of offensive tackles, lots of defensive tackles, lots of defensive ends. They weren't worried about the sexy positions. They weren't worried about the skill positions. And that's how you build a championship roster, is you load up on the offensive line, you load up on the defensive line, and start dominating that line of scrimmage. I don't argue with the Jets pick at all.
Oakland/LV. Cleveland Farrell comes out of Clemson. Obviously has a championship pedigree. I don't think anybody's knocking Farrell's ability. No. I think what the big knock from the experts has been, what are you doing drafting him 4th overall? You could have had him a lot later. If Farrell was your guy, you should have traded down. And I do understand that logic. I mean, it was a shocker. This was the bombshell of the first round to me.
This and Daniel Jones, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Well, I'll get to Daniel Jones in a second and why I
wasn't as bombshelled by.
Right.
Sure, but draft projections are nothing more than draft projections. Right. And you see, again, going back to that, when I went back to look at the Saints, they were mad because they took someone, they said, he took him at least 5 or 10 spots too early. Well, if that's the guy you want, you take him. That being said, is Farrell the guy? I mean, the whole thing with that Clemson, when you have 3 defensive linemen that all go to the NFL, it's like none of them was able. They weren't able to defensively game plan for any one of them individually.
I'll say.
So I think
he is a very high character kid. That I think might have entered into it as well.
Raiders could use that.
Yep. But Devin White goes to Tampa. It's Tampa, so they probably got it wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just Tampa. They make so many bad picks. It's just one of those organizations that rarely gets it right.
Sure, White was the consensus play there. I don't think that anyone argued he's a top 5 talent.
All right, now we'll get to Thomas Jones.
Daniel.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I told you. I said. I told you. I told you. And it's not I don't know. I every year this happens. I don't know why people don't listen to what I have to say, because I can't. Now I'm not assessing talent here. Okay, I don't know how good he's going to be in the NFL. But I do know what NFL scouts, I think they get sexually aroused over this, to be honest with you. When they see this kind of a package, they go absolutely bonkers.
He's broad.
He is physically the prototypical quarterback for the ages.
Just like Ryan Leaf was.
Exactly. Now, I don't think he's going to be a bum. I think the guy's going to play in the NFL. How good it'll be, I don't know. Is he actually worth the 6th overall pick in the draft? I don't think so. But I told you this was going to happen, and I got it right, and this is where I am going to pat myself on the back repeatedly. I said he'd be overdrafted. I said he'd move up past the other guys, and he did, because of what I just talked about. they look at him physically, and they just fall absolutely head over heels in love. And the Giants really fell head over heels in love and drafted him 6th overall. I'm not going to call it a bad pick because I think he was going in somewhere in that neighborhood anyway. So for those who are saying it's a reach, no, it's not. It might be a reach in terms of talent, but it's not a reach in terms of what the NFL does every year. Okay, it's every single season this happens. When does it start to sink in on people that a quarterback with that physical skill set is going to get overdrafted?
That was a pretty good rant, Dave. I enjoyed it. You sounded Lewis Black there for a moment, you know? I thought you started...
Because it's the one thing I know about.
It's a given.
I know
the quarterback that's
squat.
6'5", 230 is going to start getting some love. It could throw to the opposite
I'm not a talent. Look, I'm not a talent evaluator. I can evaluate talent in baseball.
But the talent evaluators are wrong every bit as much as everybody else is. That's the whole point.
But they have an established pattern. Okay, if this was a cop investigating things, he would say, "Oh, we have a clear pattern here," and they'd find, So for those words, I'm shocked the Giants took him at number 6. Well, then you're a dummy, all right? Because somebody was going to do it.
But this is my question for you, because you watch college football every Saturday. Yes. I watch college football every Saturday. We've probably seen Daniel Jones play, 25 games?
Almost his whole career.
Yeah. At no point did I look at Daniel Jones and say, this guy is going to be the next NFL star. At no point.
Neither did I. And he played it with Cutcliffe.
Yeah, exactly.
Who, is pretty good at developing quarterbacks. No, I mean, and he's had some games where he's been really bad, like the Wake Forest game at the end of last season, 59-7. I mean, come on. And it was Wake Forest, which couldn't stop anything. I don't know. But he's got a chance if he develops into his body, so to speak. He's got a big arm. He can run. He can throw the ball wherever. He can make all the throws. And there's the connection with the Mannings, and it's a fit from that standpoint. I still don't think he's worth the 6th overall pick, but that's my opinion.
I'm with you. And then what do we got? Josh Allen going to the Jags, T.J. Hawkinson going to the Lions.
Yeah, I'm higher on him than most. This pick has been getting some slamming.
The Lions, it's like the Lions and the Broncos just draft these tight ends every year, and none of them are any good.
This kid's good, though. I really like this kid. There's nothing flashy about him. I mean, if you're looking for the next Rob Gronkowski in terms of personality, he's the complete opposite. Okay, okay. His after game parties will probably be knitting conclaves or something like that. He's kind of a boring guy. I'm telling you what, though, he comes out of a crappy offense where he managed to distinguish himself, and I think given a chance to play in a more exciting offense in the National Football League, I think this guy's going to be a really good tight end.
And given the Lions coaching tree, I think they're doing their best to find the next Gronkowski. He obviously made a big difference in New England.
All right, now we'll wrap this up for now with the next pick, and this was the one I really didn't like. This is to me the worst pick of the draft, and I'll tell you why. I think Ed Oliver has every chance to be Johnny Manziel 2.0. Mm-hmm. He's a complete pain in the ass.
Yeah.
He basically single-handedly destroyed the Houston program last season. I think there were games he could have played and didn't, and I'm making that assessment based on the fact that he was jumping up and down on the sidelines. There wasn't anything wrong with his knee, okay? He just wasn't playing. He misbehaved. He was uncoachable. That I heard from several people. Now he's going to be a pain in the ass who's rich. And
which doesn't normally make people less of a pain in the ass.
Nope, makes him worse. From a talent standpoint, Ed Oliver is a stud.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody doubts that. Mm-hmm. But the guy's already established he already blew up a program last year. This Houston team was rolling, and then the Oliver stuff started, and then they finished the season by losing 70-14 to Army in a bowl game. 70-14. The coach got fired. I don't want a guy like that. Okay, there's just too many red flags. I don't care how talented he is. Let him go play someplace else. I think the Bills made a mistake taking Ed Oliver.
And the Bills are a team, again, when you look at drafts and draft history and organization, getting it right. I mean, when's the last draft Buffalo nailed?
The
80s?
Albert Dubenion back in the 60s was a really good pick.
Hey, Jim Kelly was a good pick at one point.
He was a great pick, actually. All right. How are you on Oliver? In other words, how much impact or importance do you give the off the field?
A ton.
Okay.
And it's not. This is a guy who was a consensus